Have you ever had that cruel doubt? Is she interested or is she just being polite? Dude, if you've ever been through this video will give you one of the most hidden secrets of male psychology. The one that almost no man knows. Her body speaks a lot before her mouth opens. And if you still don't understand these silent signs, that's exactly why you feel like they disappear out of nowhere. The problem isn't you. It's that you're reading the code wrong. Most men try to win over women with nice words, messages on WhatsApp, or even by forcing a date. But emotionally strategic men, those who truly master the art of attraction, know how to decipher something more powerful: female body language. And here's a cold, hard truth. A woman who is interested can't hide it for long. Her body gives it away. And there are 3 body positions, very specific ones that reveal everything to you, even when she says otherwise. Right now, there may be a woman around you giving off these signs, and you may be ignoring them all, thinking she's distant, cold, or uninterested, when in fact, all you need to do is see it with the right eyes. Feminine psychology applied to attraction shows that 93% of communication between men and women happens non-verbally. In other words, whoever masters this comes out ahead. So pay attention, because I'm going to show you how to recognize when her body is practically begging you for emotional connection. And no, this is not guesswork. This is applied emotional science, and it works almost magnetically. You'll leave this video with a skill that 97% of men ignore: reading her desire without having to hear a word. If you're tired of being the guy who doesn't understand what she wants, it's time to turn that game around. Because when you understand these 3 positions, today, you're going to see women in a completely different way. Because once you understand what I'm going to show you, you'll never again wonder if she's interested or just being polite. It'll be clear, because her body speaks, and speaks loudly. But most men don't listen. They're so caught up in trying to impress her with words, with empty promises, with messages that she doesn't even respond to, that they forget to notice what's right in front of them. Female body language is the key. It's what gives it all away. And the 3 body positions you'll learn here are more revealing than any declaration of love. Female psychology applied to attraction has already proven this in several studies. Her body responds before her mind processes it. And when you understand this, you stop being the guy who gets confused and start being the man who realizes before others. I remember a situation that left a mark on me. There was a woman who I thought only wanted friendship. She laughed, talked to me, but I thought it was all in her head. Until one day, talking to a friend who was studying female behavior, he asked me, "Have you ever noticed how she always leans in when you talk?" I had never noticed. And then it hit me. She was giving me clear signs of interest with her body, and I ignored them all. This made me study, understand, delve into psychology of female attraction. And now, you are about to learn what took me years to discover, but I need you to pay attention. It's no use just listening. You need to visualize, feel, imagine each position. Only then will you train your gaze and become a more aware, more strategic, more magnetic man. If you have ever been through something like this, comment, "I've felt this," below. Or if you have never noticed these signs, comment, "I need to learn this now." I read everything and want to know to what extent you have already perceived the power of her body without saying a word. And this is where things start to get really serious. Because the first sign you need to watch out for is one of the most powerful, and at the same time, one of the most ignored by average men: the posture of exposure. When a woman crosses her legs in your direction or turns her torso towards you, even when she is in a group, this is not random. Her body is opening up to you. She is offering herself energetically, even if her mind is still cautious. This is female psychology in its purest form, and if you learn to read this carefully, you will realize that many women have already shown interest in you, and you didn't even notice. This type of movement, where she reveals more sensitive parts of the body, such as the neck, chest, or the inner part of the thigh, has a technical name: self-exposure, a vulnerable zone. This means that emotionally, she feels confident enough to let her guard down. She hasn't told you she likes you yet, but her body has already decided to get closer. She's testing your perception, your sensitivity, your presence. And here's an important thing: she doesn't want a man who's desperate for attention. She wants a man who notices what's behind the gesture, who reads the nonverbal, who communicates with his gaze. When she shows you the most unprotected side of her body, she's not just flirting. She's evaluating whether you deserve to enter that intimate space. There's no point in forcing it. You need to respond with emotional attitude, not pressure. When you connect with the female body language, You understand that she feels before she understands. And if you master this, you touch parts of her that no other man has reached. Tell me here in the comments, have you ever seen this type of behavior and thought it was a coincidence? Or did you notice that she always turned her body when you spoke? Comment, "I've seen that," if you recognized it. Or, "I'll observe more," if you just opened your eyes now. I want to know how much this information has already started to change the way you look at them. Now pay close attention, because this second sign is even more subtle, but extremely powerful. It's the kind of gesture that almost no one notices, but which reveals a deep level of feminine emotional connection. I'm talking about the intimate tilt. You know when you're talking to her, and you notice that her head tilts slightly to the side while she's listening to you? It seems like an innocent gesture, right? But in fact, it's one of the oldest triggers of human behavior. Tilting the head is a sign of openness, of emotional surrender, of affective curiosity. It's as if her body is saying, "I'm listening to you with my heart." What's more, when she tilts not just her head, but her entire torso, even without touching or getting physically close, this shows absolute focus. She's paying attention to you with her body, not just her ears. And there's one more thing. If at this moment she starts touching her hair, touching her neck, or sliding her hand over her shoulder, this isn't vanity. This is a neurological reflex of controlled emotional arousal. Her body is reacting even before she understands what she's feeling. It is feminine psychology activated by desire and confidence. And here's the most important part. You can't interrupt this with anxiety. Most men try to advance or speak louder at this point and end up breaking the moment. The strategic man observes, holds the emotional tension, and responds calmly, because he understands that her body has already screamed the truth, even if her mind is still confused. She may even say she doesn't know what she feels, but her leaning in, the involuntary gesture of getting closer, the look in her eyes, have already given everything away. You are accessing something intimate, invisible, and powerful. Have you ever been in a similar situation? Did she tilt her head, toss her hair to the side, listen to you differently? Comment here. "I saw this and didn't understand it at the time," if you've been through this, or "Now it makes sense," if this video is connecting pieces that you had never noticed. There is a type of sign that is even more invisible, but when you learn to notice it, everything seems to change. It is what I call subconscious proximity. You know when you start to notice that she is always around? That she appears in the same places as you, sits close to you even when the space is full of empty options, or seems to run into you by chance, more often than would be normal. This insolent language of attraction. The woman who is emotionally involved begins to seek visual and spatial contact involuntarily. She wants to feel your presence without having to take the first direct step. And this is stronger than herself, because it is her emotional instinct that puts you in her field of vision, as if she wanted you to notice, but without exposing herself too much. Female psychology explains that this activates the so-called emotional mirror effect. The more you show yourself present in a subtle and confident way, the more she positions you as a sensory priority. Even if she says she's busy, that she has other things on her mind, or even tries to appear indifferent, her body doesn't lie. She seeks closeness because she's emotionally connected. And the most interesting thing is that sometimes she herself doesn't understand why she feels like being where you are, but she does. And that's where the attentive man comes in. The man who doesn't ignore this repeated pattern. The man who reads nonverbal movements and understands that female attraction is not born in words, but in shared space, in frequency, in the invisible emotional field. She may even pretend to be indifferent, but her instinct is to keep you in her field of vision all the time. This is not a coincidence. It is attraction. Now tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed someone who always stayed close to you for no apparent reason? Comment, "Now I get the sign," if this opened your mind, or "This has happened to me," if you just remembered a similar situation. Now that you understand the 3 clearest signs of female interest, there is something I need to warn you about, because there is no point in seeing the signs if you make the fatal mistake that almost every man makes. And that mistake is not reacting. When you do not react to the signals she is giving you with her body, with her inclination, with her proximity, she interprets this as rejection. Even if you do not say anything, even if your intention is just to observe, to be respectful, or to wait for a better moment, she feels that you are not interested. And at that moment, something changes in her mind. She closes herself off. She withdraws. She retreats emotionally. And the worst, she begins to see you as an insecure or emotionally blind man, and you do not even realize that you missed your chance. It is cruel, but it is real. Because in female psychology, gestures are like silent invitations. If you don't respond, it seems like you didn't understand. And no woman wants to be rejected, especially when she has already exposed herself emotionally, even if in a subtle way. That's why I need to tell you, clearly, you can't be an ordinary man. Most men miss out on opportunities because they seem emotionally blind, but you won't be like that. You're here, seeking to understand, learn, and evolve. You're becoming an emotionally strategic man. And that changes everything. Because when you learn to recognize the right moment to react, calmly, elegantly, and silently, you show that you're different, that you see what others ignore, that you know how to interpret her body better than she does. Have you ever been through this before? Of only realizing later that she was interested and you didn't react? If so, say, I didn't see the sign in time. And if you now understand what you need to do, say, I'll never miss a chance again. I'll read them all. And if you want, I can help you interpret other signs in the next videos. Today, you took a step forward in a direction that many men don't even know exists. You learned that a woman's body is an open book for those who know how to read it. That, even before any word, before any touch, a woman's body language already reveals what she feels, the exposed posture, the intimate inclination, the subconscious proximity. These are silent but powerful signals that reveal a woman's emotional interest without her having to say anything. And most importantly, you learned that ignoring these signals is the mistake that makes many men miss real opportunities for connection. Because it's not just about physical attraction. What's behind these gestures is her desire to be noticed, understood, conquered emotionally and strategically. And that's where the difference comes from a man who understands female psychology applied to attraction. He doesn't react desperately. He acts clearly, with emotional intelligence. He communicates with his eyes, with timing, with presence. And if you've absorbed what we've talked about here, you're no longer the same as before. You've already started to see things differently. Now imagine if, in addition to reading her body, you knew exactly what to say, specific words that access her emotions directly, that create connection, curiosity, even desire, without seeming forced. In the next video, I'll show you this. The words that activate deep feelings in her. Simple words, but placed at the right moment with the right intonation. If you liked this in-depth reading of body language, wait until you see what she feels when you speak from the heart, but with strategy. Have you ever experienced something similar to what we've talked about here? Comment, now I see everything differently, if this content has opened your vision. Or comment, I want to learn to speak strategically, if you also want to master the right words. I'll read what you write, and you can be sure, this is just the beginning.